Hey Joe The Untold Story. Warning, the following story contains themes of violence and death that may be disturbing to some readers. Joe's story was a dark one, a twisted journey that led him down a path of madness and despair. He was a man consumed by his own demons, haunted by the memories of a past that he could never escape. Joe was a man on the edge of the abyss, consumed by his own demons. The memories of his past were like ghosts that haunted him day and night, torturing his soul and driving him to madness. He had been in love with Mari once. She was his everything, his light in a dark world, the only thing that kept him going. But something had changed. Something dark and twisted had crept into his mind, like a drug eating away at his sanity. One night, Joe came home to find Marie with another man. His mind exploded in a fury of rage and jealousy, and he did the unthinkable. He shot her right there in cold blood. Her blood stained the floor, mixing with the shattered fragments of Joe's soul. He knew he had to run. The law would be after him, and the guilt would eat him alive. So he grabbed what little he could carry and headed down to Mexico, his gun in his hand, his heart heavy with sorrow and regret. As he traveled through the dark, twisted desert, Joe's mind was consumed by his own darkness. He saw visions of Marie's dead body, heard her voice echoing in his mind like a never-ending nightmare. He knew he could never escape his past, never outrun his own guilt. He lived like a shadow, a man without a name, without a face, without a future. He moved from town to town, always on the run, always looking over his shoulder, always haunted by the memories of what he had done. He drank to forget, to numb the pain, but it only made things worse. In the end, Joe found himself alone in the desert, his soul consumed by the darkness he had brought upon himself. He knew he could never go back, never face the consequences of his actions. And so he stayed there, lost in his own madness, waiting for the end to come. But the end never came. Joe lived on, a shell of a man, a ghost in the desert. His story was forgotten, his name lost to the sands of time. But the memory of his dark and twisted journey lingered on, haunting the minds of all who heard it, a warning of the dangers of giving in to one's own darkness. And so, as the sun set on another day in the desert, Joe raised his gun to his head and pulled the trigger. The sound echoed across the barren landscape, a final, mournful cry of a man who had lost everything to his own demons. Hey Joe, where you going with that gun in your hand? The answer was simple: straight to hell.